Started. Um, yeah, I hope everybody been enjoying their weekend so far. I'm glad you taking some time out to come and chill with your boy and see if we can, have a nice little Q&A this Sunday afternoon. You feel me? So, um, yeah, I was asking you guys how y'all felt about Friday because like I said, I didn't think we was gonna dunk that hard, but we've been asking for that for eesh, since we realized semis were just out of control. So, um, first things first, I got ES up. We're gonna go ahead and do that. It's a live market right now, and we're actually watching it run back to the upside. So, you say looks rough. Definitely looks rough. So right now I'm scaled out on a larger frame right now. We're on the 30 minute. Let's go out to the 4 hour. All right, cool. So if you if you're new to the indicators, I try to make it so I can visually see overbought and oversold levels. I got them color coded, and sometimes you'll see them posted up on my charts if you still getting to learn it. And I'm still actually working on it as we go, but it's been pretty helpful. Purple territory on my charts means like is extended to the upside dramatically. Normally that's like a catalyst movement or anything that just drives the price. Red is of course my overbought levels. Yellow is my transitional levels, and then of course green, that's my buy levels. Currently, we are looking at the market from a 3 month structure point. We got up in the purple recently, and now we're selling off all the way down to the red. When I say I didn't think that we were gonna come down this quick, I thought maybe we would have used this midpoint right here as some support, but we didn't. We just made a drastic move all at one time. So when I say the market's like it's almost expected for it to recover. It made such a drastic move that it deserves just a little bit of recovery, even if it's 50% of that. So I'm not completely bullish on the market going, at the rate that it's been going. We're expected a relief bounce, but honestly, I don't like it to the long side anymore after the market sold off that dramatically that fast. So going into this week, um, like I said, right now we're still kind of bearish. I'm gonna be looking for a rejection anywhere in here tomorrow, anywhere in there. Like I said, we a recovery into tomorrow wouldn't be bad, just because the move was so dramatic. But if we come back up to this area right here, this was once our support. We'll be looking for this to turn into our rejection area for the move back down, probably a couple handle back down. And the reason why it's so choppy at the moment right now is because we're going into the final month of this quarter, but we're also entering a new month too. So what that means is the 3 month structure is what I normally look at, the candles. And when you actually go and you're looking at previous candles and how they reacted towards it, it gives you an idea of how overextended the prices have been over that, over this quarter. And so far, Q2 has been a very, very nice month for ES and the SPY. So it's only fair that going into this last month of the quarter, they give back some of these gains. They take profits. We going into another ETF rebalance here on the 19th or the 23rd of this month. So that means holdings are going to be switched around. Different companies are going to be added to the S&P 500 and taken out. So a lot of money could be flowing in and out of these ETLs as the restructuring happens. So I was telling somebody I'm looking at this month as a cool off month, still slightly bullish though, but also look for some profit taking because it's gonna be a large rebalance in the market. So, like I said, going into tomorrow, I still think that we're due for a recovery, but I'll be definitely watching for a rejection back into this white area right here where we retest what used to be um, our previous support zones. How low can we go? Um, if we come out of this red zone, this yellow target would be our next. Um, that'll be our next area for some decent support. You can see that this was once a consolidation area, and now we're getting back, close to over here. So I don't know what type of catalyst lies out, waiting for us this week, but it's nothing about it that I'm really expecting to affect it to where it's just gonna push us back up here. Not as of right now. NQ, I don't need both of them. I can take one off and change the structure. Yeah. All right, so NQ is having a little recovery too, and it actually, if you look at it from a bigger standpoint, it ran way higher, way stronger than Spot did. So the reason for that being, Qs are heavier in semiconductors. So with it being heavy in semiconductors, and they having just an awesome quarter, it's going to drive the volatility of tech actually a little stronger than it will Spot. I think Spot differs by having Berkshire Hathaway and maybe another one being switched up in the holdings. But, having tickers like AMD and MU in your holdings, this quarter has been crazy. So that's why we're seeing it run a little stronger than Spot was. But it's due for a big dump too. We just count it as the top of this zone right here, around 29,794. That's why I'm be looking for another area of rejection. I think somebody just asked, how do I feel about all the big events? Apple event tomorrow, CPI Wednesday. I mean, I think all of these are gonna play a factor into which way that day's volatility is gonna go. Um, when the market has a drastic move like we saw Friday, the first day, maybe even the first 2 days, is really kind of a dart throw because you don't know which way the algo wants to really drive the price. Because we're not moving it whichever way we decide to put our money into the market, regardless of whether it's the right way or the wrong way, the market still is gonna move that way. So just a drastic move like this, yeah, we can have a recovery day, but look how Bitcoin's been being hit over the past week. Everybody's been expecting the bottom, and it's still been driving lower. So we really can't expect too much of anything right now in this market. Like I said, prices drove right into a nice area of support and resistance in this purple zone right here. Still a bit oversold. Well, it's actually still a lot overbought, which prices can drive even lower. But I wouldn't be surprised if we chopped between these lows and these highs tomorrow. Just pending different catalysts and stuff like that. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. And what's strange about it is Bitcoin's still trying to find a bottom, but it's been pretty much underperforming the whole time. Stocks have actually had a very decent rally. I do think that this year is creating a very better buying opportunity for crypto, Bitcoin, ETF, and all of those, simply because it didn't rally as hard as the rest of the market did. So, as of right now, highs look like it's around like 126 ish. So, it's crazy that we haven't really performed the way that we should have, that we would expect crypto to perform with the rest of the stuff actually pumping the way that it did. But once again, the only thing that really moved the market so far in quarter two is semiconductors. AMD take off, MU, Marvel, SanDisk, like all of those all of those stocks just really took off. We still got Microsoft that really hasn't done much this year. Meta, Nvidia, it's been slowly climbing, but it hasn't performed as much as we thought it was. Palantir, like much of the market hasn't really performed outside of that sector. So I think crypto would be a decent buy going into these lower levels. We was anticipated to probably hit these 40s last time that we dipped like this, but we really didn't see it. It held up around the 50,000 range. So right now we're going back, and it's almost trying to turn us into resistance. It held up pretty decently the last time it retested it. So last time that it retested these zones, it held up pretty decently. This is the first time since then that we've actually broke, and now we have a candle, a weekly candle that's opening below what used to be support. So once again, if we do trade back up into these zones, that's expected. We could see a picture of something like this, but back over here. Like I said, we got to work under this structure for about one more month. Let's see what it really looked like. This is the only thing that we'll probably need to keep an eye on right there. And like I said, it'll probably make sense if we break out at the end of the month, and this is set up for new structure to actually get us out of here, for us to reclaim this 65,000 again. But as of right now, we actually opening up below a critical level, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a just a consolidation move until we break out this little wedge. But just a consolidation move between probably here and probably there. So crypto can go a lot lower, but I think that it can be a lot more explosive than most of the stocks going into the third quarter. So I still like crypto. I think we do need to just wait it out probably for another month just to see how this trades, since it's below a critical level, which was once support, and then see how it plays from here. If so, then we'll go back and retest between 55 to 50,000. But all of this is a good buy for going into next year. So, along one thing that I like going along with it is MSTR and Coinbase. I've been pretty big on both of those. MSTR is finding a more of a safer zone than Coin. All right, so this is what I'm watching for right now. MSTR. It's not gonna go to zero, but the thing is Bitcoin leveraged, so the volatility should be there. Now the fact that we've approaching this zone kind of damn near similar to Bitcoin's chart. Unless Bitcoin go to zero, this just gets more explosive over time. Reason being, the days that or the periods where Bitcoin just rockets to the upside, we're gonna see this actually be extremely explosive back up to the upside. So I definitely want to keep this out on the radar, because the cheaper it gets, the more explosive it can become. I I I was a slow believer in Bitcoin, and then it finally worked me over. But I realized it's more so, to me, it's an investment. It's not as quick of a returner as stocks are. but when it moves like a freight train. You feel me? So I like it long term. As far as right now, we just want to see how it holds up above this 117 zone. Yeah, this 115. All of this is still good back up to 180. We've seen the meltdown that we saw, the melt up over here. So it's coming back down to a critical level. We want to see it hold up above this 115 zone. Now, as far as the contracts go, let me write this down as I go. I would want to look for at least the 125 calls or the 140, 145. So 125 or 145 calls. And if you can work your way in and out of the contracts, but they should be a lot cheaper. Only thing is the VIX is up and the spreads are fucking huge. But let's go to the 18th and look at the 125 calls. All right. So right now they're trading at about 620, but not yesterday, Friday, we saw them pushing almost 380. 380, and these contracts are extremely overvalued. They were just sitting at 1400 that Tuesday. And from that Tuesday down to that Friday, they lost what? Damn near a grand. So, like I said, these are about 2 weeks out. If it goes any lower than 380, snatch them. Like, these are super dope. So, on 125, let's see, 06, 18, 26, 125 calls. Looking at 380. 380, because anything below 380, all the money's already gone out of it. So the price action is going to have to force its way back up. So those are dope. And then the 130, no, 145 calls. They're even cheaper. Yeah, these are even cheaper. So right now, these are at 154. That's where they closed. And prices dropped down to about 105. That was the low. So let me actually look at something. So this is my little dashboard that I'm building. And it lights up green whenever it's time to take them. And then as long as they stay green, it lets me know where to trim off it. So the fact it made the lows at 106. So below that 150. And then it could drive its way back up. Back around 1500. So I'm still working on this, but so far it's been coming along pretty smooth. I like it. And these are the two calls that I'm gonna be watching for MSTR. These 145 calls and the 125 calls. Like I said, these dropped as low as $100, just about like 102, and it pushed up $54 before it closed. So if crypto holds up overnight, which is doing pretty good. Yeah, Bitcoin's doing pretty good. It's coming back up here. We should get a nice little gap up or something on crypto, which should give us a nice pop on those contracts. So definitely want to keep that one. Probably won't do coin just because it's more volatile as far as the spreads go, and I wouldn't want to put anybody in a bad situation with that one, just because the sellout's kind of been a bit more aggressive. If it was back in the green, I would tell you guys take it. But the spreads, I think when I checked Friday, they were about like $25 apart. So that'll make for a horrible exit or entry on it. So We just gonna hold it to MSTR, and then we gonna go from there. All right. Um, I know a lot of people been messing with Apple. They haven't been performing in the way that we thought that they should. I thought we was gonna get back to 230 and make another move up to 235, but the market say, nah, we not gonna give you. We gonna give you 230, but that was on good grace. So as of right now, we're in a nice little transitional zone for Nvidia. We saw the massive squeeze up, bam. Then we seen a 50% retracement look like of that massive move before we shot back up, and now we're back probably making that next move down there. So we'll just have to see how this holds up around this midpoint, around 212 or not, see if it holds. So Nvidia just, I don't know. Like I said, semis ran, but Nvidia didn't do much of it. It is pretty much stalled, and I think it's my personal opinion is because the expectations are just to perfection. So anything Nvidia does right is already given to them in the price action. But anytime something negative comes up, or the expectations are said verbally to the news, then the prices sell off like this. So as far as the price action goes, like I said, we're in a pivotal zone right here between 205 and 200. That's something that we definitely want to pay attention to see how it reacts, and if it's going to give us that next leg down to reach this area right here. Because that's where it's looking like it's wanting to head right there. This was a key level that once upon a time. It almost mirrored this move right here, actually almost mirrored a bigger move here, and it shot back up. But now we're coming back down, it's profit taking and stuff. So I want to watch prices if they do accelerate down below 200. I think this would be a decent spot to look for a recovery into the end of the month. Yeah, that'd be a big key level. Just looking back, because we did see it once, and then we saw it two more times. So this would be a key level if we do happen to drop down to where we'll be looking to see if we can form some type of bottom around here for the move back up. But as far as to the upside right now, we could see a retest of 215. Like I said, it's in a transitional zone, so bulls or bears can win. You see, it's just about 50% way up and about a 65% way down. So it's really, really important to see which one wins before going long in this situation, because it really, anybody could win this match. Like I said, if we drop down, we'll come down to about 194. But if we push back up to the upside, look for them to start getting out around 214 to 215, and then we could see the next leg down, kind of how we saw the bounce up here and the rejection. Look for the rejection, the bounce here, and possibly to move back up before they get some of their money out and then dump it again. So like I said, long term, I'm 50-50 on Nvidia. I kind of already been stay away from it, but as far as choosing a direction right now, is really in the air, because it does fall under that semiconductor category. So if SMH continues to fall, it's a possibility, even though you got stocks like AMD and MU that's already super extended, Intel. Just because Nvidia didn't reap as much as those benefits doesn't mean that it's exempt from the sell-off with the rest of the semiconductors either. So be careful on your positions heading into the end of the month, the next 6 months of the year, on Nvidia. A lot of structure right here between 193 and 168. A lot of structure. And just look how long we consolidated there. From July the 25th all the way to March 30th of this year before we actually decide to break out of this sideways channel. So Nvidia is kind of the ones that doesn't make the straight incline anymore. It's more like Apple now, how Apple used to trade in long consolidation periods, just because the expectations for it are so high. Everything is already kind of baked into the price action. So um, that's my take on Nvidia. Be careful on either direction on Nvidia. All right. If you guys have any tickers that you want to check, you can drop them in the chat or questions. We can go over them. Other than that, I'm just gonna keep looking at the things that I'm interested in going to the week, and I'll check out you guys stuff too. All right, so my next one is Palantir. Now, as you can see, Palantir it's been pretty beat up. I'm not gonna lie. Um, it's almost looking as if we can go down even lower this month. All right. If it does, I'm on them. I think I'm gonna be one of these people that's gonna like Palantir long. I'm gonna like Palantir long, and then the next one, Google. I'm gonna like Google, but as of right now, we're approaching critical zone. So we saw support hold up here. It held up here. Here now, here we are once again. It's gonna be interesting. We consolidated here once before, and every time we've reached this area in between here, it's been bought up. If we do drop down, I think I'd be more hesitant to buy up here, just because I don't know how long prices will stay below 120 on Palantir. I like the volatility. I like the pricing on the contracts. It's a nice stock to trade for cheap stocks and big gains right now. Just because the price action is pretty much trading to the downside. Uh, how do I peak with strike price? Is mostly structure. And if I was to do it without, let me see, let me clear the screen. That's a decent question too. So I use what's called top down analysis, and pretty much is where you start from a bigger time frame. So if I scroll out to the daily, which that'll be the one where I would start at, I will find support and resistance on that particular frame. So we see a lot of bouncing price activity around here, and that's 128. And then we've been seeing some resistance. You just looking at the previous candles here, and then you see a lot of rejection around 160. So once you find the bigger things, then you can go down to the 4 hour, and then you can find the same thing sideways. And that's just because this is consolidated. But you can find the same thing in the 4 hour. So I found the channels here, and then I found the channel here. Now, whatever you come up with, as far as this goes, that's the strike prices you shoot for. I wouldn't do 138. I'd do 140, 150, 155, 160. And then all you do is look for how much time you want to put on them. Whether you want to put a week on them, 2 weeks, um, because stocks travel to the right and in an angle. If you're on TradingView, you can do this. Draw you a slight angle on the peak. Once it peaks, then once it drops from the peak, once it finds the bottom, then you can draw another little slight angle from there. And then you see the time stamp at the very bottom by the earnings thing. That gives you a time frame on how much time to put on your stock price if it was to trade gradually and rise back up to the top. So if it's 2 weeks, if it's a week, then You pretty much find your expiration date and your strike prices through just the basic charting. So, Great Ripper, what's good, my boy? Say it's all good, man. It is all good. Did that answer your question though? Cool. Yeah, you and that's just the way to make it simple. So I'm glad they helped. And easy. All right, so back to what I was saying about Palantir. As of right now, I don't know how long we'll see if it drops back down below here. Once again, this is a very critical zone for Palantir. Like I said, if it drops from here, it didn't hold this zone right here pretty long. This area right here, it just took off. I can't never draw the top one right. There we go. This little bubble right here, it didn't hold that long. Like for whatever reason, government contract, pricing in the earnings, whatever, it didn't stay in this range right here long. And this is between 130 and 65. Probably because of what it's worth or what the company's worth over time. They didn't allow buyers to really get a good position into it. So I do think that we can eventually drop back down here and discover these prices again just because of how fast it broke out of $100 and kept pushing. I mean, damn near here 250. People are trimming some off the top, and they're gonna be looking to hop back in because now they know where the highs are. And if you just want to look at it, look at good companies. Let me put it like that. If they're not doing a whole bunch of reverse splits, um, just dumb shit. Good companies, it's gonna be an opportunity to where good investments happen. Just because prices didn't allow them to everybody that wanted to get in at a good time. So long term, I will watch Palantir just because we know the highs are up here around 222, and we're just about getting $100 discount on the stock price. So, Beast, what's up, my boy? Glad to see you made it. Um, Scaled into IGV. What's going about Palantir, but IGV cool. Yeah, so Palantir be um one of my heavy ones to buy. I don't have any updated strike prices for these. They'll update in the morning, but long term, I'm liking the 160s. Like I said when we drew it out up here, and then I would start entering calls below 126 because these are my put strike prices: 126, 123, and 117.65. So I would look for buyers to step in around here to end off the month. You know, price is gonna go at least back up to 126, 125, because right now it's trading below structure price. So we got time on these strikes below 126, and then back up to at least 160, 172. We might not have enough time to push back up there, but I like this one. So um, like I said, we'll look for. I don't know how price is gonna open. Right now it's at 133. I have to see how it opens up in the morning. The closest strike right now looks like it could be mm, probably 140 first. These white areas are normally magnet prices. For the price action, you see it sold off so strong when it retested it here, and normally that was a nice little place for it to get bought up. You seen it here, it sold off and came back to it, that 50% area. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back and retested this 140. The market sentiment for the week, yeah, I'll drop it on there too. Microsoft drop was a good opportunity too. We'll go over Microsoft because I still like it, and I'll go back over the sentiment too. But like I said, this 50% zone for 140s have been pretty hot. If we look at, let me write it down, bro. I ain't had no ice cream in months, bro. I've been trying to stay away from that dairy. Let's look at June 18th. What did I say? 140s. All right, June 18, 140s. Right now, those are at about 350. Like I said, man, you can trade Palantir one day. A call will be 300. The next day is up here at 2300. You feel me? Like that's why I love this stock. But what's the nine? We still got, so this will change Monday. But right now, buyers were stepping in for this contract at 385, 340, and 260. The lows that we saw it make so far was 320. So right around this the 340 mark, buyers have been stepping in on these contracts. So right now, I think these are good. Anything below 255 is a steal for them. Some type of catalyst to probably push it back up, or these will go worthless. But 140 seems to be decent, at least for the next 2 weeks. And I think that this would be one of my easy making money makers, along with Google, this week. So let's look at Google. Coconut or cashew milk ice cream. I don't like coconut though. Bro, coconut water is, yeah, I know it's healthy for you, but I can't do it. All right, so eyes on Google. Right now is pretty beat up, a little more than the rest of the market right now. This week will be interesting. I think it's gonna be one of the faster recoveries right now, and simply because below 363, that's been a real volatile area for them. So if we drop back below 340 for some odd reason, and the only reason why I say that is because we still kind of have a downtrend. It's not quite sideways yet. But Google one of the ones that's liable to break out at any time. And it's gonna be interesting to see, how much of their holding is gonna be a part of the rebalance. So right now, this is the trend that we're in at the moment for Google. But the volatile moves is what I'm looking for. And the reason why I'm so focused on certain tickers this week is because when the market does decide to recover, these are going to move extremely, extremely fast. And because of the price range that is in the 300 range to 150, the contracts are fairly priced, and you can make a lot of money pretty quick because of the volatility. Um, right now, I'd be in, very interested in calling below 359, 360 if we see it. This would be an extremely oversold level, and the move from 340 to 360 could happen super, super quick. As of right now, we have to see if it breaks out and decides that it wants to trade sideways between its 370 and 375. We saw it briefly, and then it sold off from there end of the day. So, like I said, it's gonna be interesting seeing how prices open up and react tomorrow. But this is on my watch list as far as deep calls go. Um, this is a 3 month structure. This is the 1 month, and the 1 month shows that it's already extremely beat up because it's trading in the deep green and in the purple zones right now. So it retested that level right there. We'll just have to see how the rest lines up, and see if we can get that explosive move up back to 370 to 375. You say you caught the first 5 minutes of the man. It was crazy. Like they sold it off extremely quickly. So, like I said, I think big facts, 177% and 195%. Nice. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Easy money. Easy fucking money. And if we continue to drop this week, like I said, this will probably be a nice gem going into the end of the month. If it continues to stay in a downtrend too far, the only thing that I would say about going into July, that short move or that explosive move back up could be short lived with some resistance. And I'm saying that because, all right, reason why I'm saying that, because we're on a downtrend because of the previous month before that. You know, it left this little flat doji right here, just sitting there. It showed all the buyers were out going into the closing of the price. So once you see this, you got this big green, just extended candle to the upside. They got their money and got out. This is where they got their money and got out right here. I'll get back to it after this one. But you see, a lot of them got their money out of here because they rode this extensive candle to the upside. So now, I wouldn't be surprised if it wants to retest this zone right here so far, between 350 and 296. You see, Google normally, typically, we just look at it from the monthly candle. You see, normally it has two red months before it finally starts trickling its way back up. Two right here, one, two, one, two, one, two. I'm not saying that that's how it's always gonna trade, but I mean you got to look at what the chart shows you, how long it's been doing that. You know how extensive does the drops be? It's gonna tell you when to get in. We're going on a second month right here after a sell-off. Even if we have a third month, your odds of building a position in the third month is way higher than it would be building it right now. So going into next month, even if it dips a little bit lower and it comes down to 350, I'm thinking anywhere in here could be a decent opportunity for a reload back on Google loans. I can't really give you what next week's gonna look like. We did fill a gap right here. So the fact that we finally, well, not all the way, but is attempting to fill this gap right here over the past week, and buyers have been stepping in, which is probably why it's been a decent recovery so far, back up into, it's 370 and 375 area. But we want to keep playing calls in here until it actually drops below here, and this becomes a rejection area. So you play the calls while the calls are still revealing itself for the bounce, especially on top of a gap being right here. And if it falls below, then you'll want to end up playing Google to the downside. And you'll use this as either a deeper buying opportunity, or you can play the rejection until it goes back up. But right now, as far as the monthly goes, we're already in the second month of closing red. And it's possible buyers could start stepping in the third month or the fourth month. So I still like Google. Somebody says, so looking at Palantir and you're looking at entering with calls, especially if it dips to around 128, 129. Let's pull up Palantir again. All right, so especially if it dips to around 128, 129, or you thinking swing holding the cause for a little while, just want to get an idea of what your thought process is. I agree that's a good level of support. All right, so let's just look at Palantir right here from a monthly perspective. All right, if we're looking at it just from a support and resistance standpoint, the first thing you should see is a lot of support being bought up right here. This is without the indicators on. Like, this is just strictly TA. And then you see a lot of sellers up here at 163. Until it breaks this monthly trend, you'll continue to actually play the call. So it could be a swing or it could just be a day trade. If you can go out and you can spread out the expiration time, then this would be a good trade for a swing trade, because Palantir, like I said, is very volatile. So one day it might move up and the next day it sells it off. We saw it push 150, 163. And then within let's see, June 1st to June 5th, it went from 163 to 135 in a week. So with Palantir, it could be a day trade or a swing. You just have to catch it at the right time. And right now, from charting it on the monthly, you can see on the daily time frame that it's been a reasonable support level here at 129, and we'll just have to play that until it breaks. If that makes sense. And that's just a horizontal trend. If you actually wanted to see like if it's squeezing or anything like that, you can scale out and you can find the pattern on here. And I gotta invert my scale. My brain is missing some screws, so I see stuff better upside down sometimes. Crazy, right? All right, so draw this out on the weekly. Yeah, drawing this out on the weekly so you can start seeing the price action. Drawing this out on the weekly, he's on full blown crazy. Oh, I got you. I'm gonna go on spy after this one. But you can see the descending trend right here. That you can kind of see it starting to come within this pattern. So right now, going into the week, here go. Here's our midpoint right here. That's at 143. So we'll watch when we scale down on the daily chart. We'll just see if prices are gonna choose to either A, bounce between here, this support level right here, and choose to make this a resistance area and see if we bounce. That's the wrong one. See if we bounce in here. Let me see. This crosses Wednesday. So if we bounce here, we should be up here by Wednesday, or retested it by Wednesday. And that's just timing out the how the trend plays out. If it gaps down and breaks, we could see prices come around here and then continue to fall lower. The next support zone, if we fall lower, looks like it'll be the right there and right here. And because I'm marking out this cup that we saw right here, it has structure in it. So all I did was mark it out over here. And then this would be how it'll play out. If it breaks down on the downside, you'll watch for the chop between 131 and 121. $10 chop. So you know the volatility is crazy. We could see another one of these moves over here. If it gaps down and it decides that it wants to drop down even more, come down to this 97 and 104. I wonder how these match up with my indicators. Let's see. I ain't even got no levels down there yet. Nah. But all right. So You see why I drew it out? It's trading back under pressure zone. At any time it could break below here. This white area right here between 118 and 110, that's a transitional zone. So if it gaps down and falls here, that's gonna be the next area you can make that just drastic squeeze down to 105 to 97. If we break out, that'll be interesting. We have to break this structure. And it's a lot of activity right here. It's a lot of drama right there. So if it does break out above 156, it'll have to make this tippy top right here that it was normally rejection points, this little crown up here, it'll make the tips of that support and it'll spike its way up. And it's gonna be a quick one because it's not gonna want to give it people enough time to hop in. Everybody will be short and it'll be squeezing to the upside. So like I said, Palantir is tricky, but your safest point would be to play it to the upside, just because it's gonna rip eventually. So, did I look at SPY, XSP? Let's see, and I'm gonna look at Microsoft next. Oh, that's the options for it. Okay. Look at SPY and then we'll talk about the options chain for XSP. All right, so this is where SPY is looking. It was sold off, but let me look and see where this is. Yeah, so we just talked about it. Right now, SPY is in a pressure zone, bro. Let's look at the monthly. All right, so from a monthly perspective, and this is what I was talking about with the price action being pinned going into June. All right. Actually, let's look at the 3 month. So right now, here's the previous 3 month candle. We are already super extended from the previous month's highs. We're coming into the last month of this quarter. So it's gonna be some profit taking. We got a structure, June ETF rebalancing. So things are gonna have to be shifting around. So we coming off an extended 3 months. Well, we already extended 3 months afterwards, and here we are going into a new month. So we're 5 days into the new month, 6-7 days into the new month, and it's already been some profit taking. So it wouldn't be surprising if we came back down here between this 50% level, well, almost 50% level of these two previous runs that we've been seeing. So as of right now, we're already trading below, well, we already have started out trading below previous week's lows. Here's previous week's lows. If I can find the right one. All right, so here's previous week's lows right here, and we've already briefly broken between it. We saw a lot of conflict right here around 75.19. That's when we saw the conflict happening. It really wasn't even no conflict. It just got slapped down, like real smooth, like. So now that we've already briefly opened below that previous week's lows, that means we're trading under a bearish algo right now. The structure's been broken. We're trading under bearish pressure because last week was bearish. So we're bearish this week until we break those highs, previous week's highs. So this is the structure right now. It created it. It's showing it to us. All we have to do is follow it. Be patient and follow it. All right, so here's the support right here. This was our support here at 75.20. Here was the last support. around here at 73.60. Once we broke what used to be support, it just slammed on the gas and drove it straight down into the next wall or the ground. We've bounced here, but the thing is, we've already breached that lows. So now that we're on that type of time, we have to look for any type of rejections in between here as of right now. What's the big level? Oh man. The big level on SPY as of right now will probably be this zone right here. Boom. Somewhere in there we continue to fall. Because they didn't give buyers much of an opportunity to get in on the retest. It just screamed to the upside. And people are going to want to be getting in already. You're short, which is a good thing because it's already breaking down. So let's see, the sentiment say mostly up, but we still trying to stay above the opening highs. 73.68 is where a lot of the shift is gonna happen. And that 68 is kind of right here where I showed you guys that this is where the last support was at 73.60. So below here, that's where you'll see a majority of the actual price action, work its way back to the downside. How low can we go? I'm thinking buyers should start stepping in around 73.30 to 73.25. Deep pullback would be below 7,300. So right now we're just pretty much getting what we are pretty much owed, just because we saw such a volatile move when it broke that structure right there. So you was looking at XSP. What contracts were you looking at for options? End of week, some would be nice. Let's see. Going short on it. Nah. Trying to see what's the best structure right now for it. All right, so if you're trying to go short on it, I would look for a rejection in between this, right at about 7,500, and that'd be like a midway point right now. You see, we had a lot of conflict right here, right there, and right here. That's where our conflict happened at. So if it pops back up and we see a midday recovery, because yesterday was really supposed to be our support zone. Well, not yesterday. Friday, this was really supposed to be our support, but it wasn't. The algo doubled up on us. So I wouldn't be surprised if we seen at least a recovery to this 50% zone right here. But if we drop down, it'll have to flush below these lows. And you see how the lows right here, support's really been holding up rather well. I'll say right there. That's a fair drop. Bounce there, got close, and then little break below it again. And we just saw it get bought up again. So it's due a recovery. We'll need to break below 73.65. That's pretty close to the sentiment shift that I got right here at 73.68. And I would look for calls right now until it gets up to like 7,500. End of week, I'll look for a retest of these lows though. 73.65. And that'll be the breakdown below here. So the furthest I would go out is like this 72.25. And that don't go no further than that. But watch for the bounce here. And what have we done? We've done MSTR, we've done Spy, Google, Nvidia, Microsoft. I knew I was missing something. All right. All right, so bro, you just looking for a overall, you want the sentiment of it, or you just want me to just break this bitch down? Yeah, we a little bearish, big price action zone. I, I like it a little bit because it's Microsoft. I haven't done Tesla yet. I'll do it. I'll check on that next. All right, so this is what I'm watching for on Microsoft. I think it was Ripple that asked. Great Ripple. All right, so this is a big zone for Microsoft. Right now, I would want to play to the long side on Microsoft, but only reason why I say but these sharp moments to where it shows life and then it decides that nah, I don't want to do this no more. That's what kills me on Microsoft. And the contracts are a bit pricier too. You can make good money on them, but it has to be right. It has to be right. All right. So this 390 zone, that's been a decent spot to watch out for right now. And the way that the market's been trading, the reason why I say I like it is because for one, we're filling this gap that we once filled already, and buyers are starting to step in. And for two, at one point in time, they liked this area. They liked it. So I don't want to say they'll drop Microsoft the way software has been kind of attempting to run. I want to see how everything starts off when these ETF rebalancing starts. Please tell me you heard some of it. Bro said he went around and got a charger. I know he caught some of that. Okay, he said he got it. All right, but this is a zone that I really want to watch for on Microsoft at the 390 to 395. 390 to, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at 390. We ain't gonna try to break it down too far. Anything below 390 will be really really dope. That's looking at it from the past 3 months. If I look at it from a 1 month perspective, it already kind of has that drawn out. So that gap right there, that shows where buyers gapped it up. They retested it once and then got back into it and rolled it back to the top. We're gonna have to see how it reacts around that gap up zone. So definitely, I'm definitely watching it around here until the structure actually shifts and it wants to set this up as resistance. This 400 and above, that'll have to become resistant for me not to like Microsoft anymore. But as of right now, I think that it can shoot back up towards the mid 440s at any time. It normally gets a head start early in the morning and then it runs for like the next 2 days. You said you're in a 500 call for 717 and 485 for 717. Let's look at it. July 717. Let's look at the 500s. That would be a little bit cheaper. All right. So These are the contracts, the options chain for those $500 calls right now. Now it's gonna be a bit volatile simply because we looking at the structure. I think I said at 445. We're looking for a retest of that. But because it moves the way that it does, the way that it does move, it's a lot of resistance once it gets up to about 770, and that's because it hasn't been making any like real new highs. So as of right now, buyers are starting to step in below 180 ish. Let's see, that's $85. That's 130. So discounts are below 130. If we recover tomorrow, it'll show that that's actually a good level to enter calls at. Um, this previous week, it was taking a beating. And contracts couldn't even recover. It got down to 150 and buyers stepped in. So we'll just have to be watching for them to see if they recover back up here to like at least $600 or so. So those are good. You said you had 485s. And the 485s are just about the same. Like they're still good just because Microsoft has a tendency to pop up and go. So the contracts typically hold value pretty good. All right, so right now, money probably could still step in and run its way back up to about 270. But all of this is still green, so it could have a tendency to run up to at least 600 when it does pop. So I like it. I like it. The market just gonna have to cooperate, and we'll see. You'll see how it is. I'll be averaging down then at least 2, 3 contracts. Appreciate it. No problem. No problem. So, like I said, my discounts right now, they're already on discounts below 280. But if you don't want to average down like that, well, anything below 240, and then buyers should step in again at $95. And they should eventually flow back into the money. So, we did Microsoft. Did somebody else say something else? Tesla. That was a crazy one, huh? All right, so as of right now, let's close everything and just look at it. Zone this shit out. All right, from a 3-month perspective, it's already broken previous month's lows, but they're starting to get bought back up. Haven't quite broken the highs yet. So it's still trading under that bearish 3-month algo. All right, so we go to the monthly and we look at that, and we're trading within that candle range, that previous month's candle. So we'll mark out the lows here. The highs are a little bit. Let's change that to let's change it to green because it's still bullish. So we're still trading in between the previous month's highs and lows, which means bulls are in control. When we go down to the weekly, we've broken structure, previous week structure. So we're now trading what? In between the highs and lows of previous week. That'll be red. So what we'll be watching for this upcoming week? Go down to the daily. So we're telling the story from a bigger picture, and we just dissecting it down to the inside. You feel me? So do DDD. I'll do that one next. All right, so here we are trading within previous week's candles. price action between 388 and 433. The structure in between this on the daily chart is it melted pretty bad here. So it's not much right there. Buyers tended to be over here. And turn that to white. And buyers tended to step in over here at these lows. All right, so right now we're looking for bearish sentiment. All right, and then we're looking for a bounce, just because we've seen it bounce twice from 385 and 378. Even if it drops, we're looking for a bounce anywhere in between here to retest levels up to 424. And this will still be valid until it actually breaks the previous week's highs above 433. And then you can see it push up to 453 and the 458. So you'll play this structure, these two structures in between. If it breaks down below here and it breaks that previous month's lows below 378, this now becomes red because that's a break of structure. We'll see it trade back down. We see the previous levels held around here and around there. So that's how it'll play out if you break structure below 378 and you look for your next price targets, 364 and 337. Making sense? So Tesla's still bearish. Well, it's a bit choppy because we're still trading in between the previous month's green candle. But we're just playing a choppy to bearish week this week. So, yeah, around 385. You'll look for a relief bounce. Not looking for longs. You look for a relief bounce. Would I touch it? I would touch it if it trades. We'll have to see how tomorrow opens up. How did it close? It's going to already open. All right, let's break it down even more. Here's the highs. Here's that week's highs. And then here's the lows. All right, so now that we're trading, we got our highs and lows. Highs at 424, lows at 388. Depending on how we open, let me see what time it is. 8:48, so that means it's open. SPY. So right now it's at 394. 394.68. Okay. If we look at it, here's 393. It's at 394, so it's a little bit above that closing candle's highs. We'll have to see how the market actually opens. What's his actual opening price, and see how it trades above or below that. Like I said, tomorrow really isn't just an extremely good day to trade just because of how volatile the market was Friday. It's almost like they needed to halt the market, but they didn't. Just because it just messed over a lot of people. But that'll be our ranges for tomorrow, between 424 and 388. We'll have to see how it opens. If it opens above or below, another rejection point will probably be somewhere right here between 416 or Let's see. That's why I put this shit together. Everything I just drawn out, pretty much. You'll look for calls below 386. It's at 394, so a little bit above here. We'll just have to watch and see how structure opens up. But eventually it should come back up and retest this 408 level. Because that's where a lot of the structure or the fight was at, between 408 and 423. So I would be more inclined to grab either 405 or 410 calls or 420 calls. So let's look at the 420 calls for. Let's see how expensive they are for the 12. All right, so they actually not bad at all. All right, so extreme no discount. All right, so I should get some new levels tomorrow, but as of right now, they seem to be on the discount below 500. The next area of support for those contracts would be like right at about $100. You might not be able to get a $92 fill unless it's just selling off, or consolidating and theta's kicking away at it. But $100 seems to be the next good place to buy, $100 to $95. If I go and look at the 405 calls, they're going to be a bit more pricier, but they have a lot better chance of coming back to life because most of the money is going to be out of it below 400. So you'll see them below 400, and then they'll automatically probably pop back to this $900 range. So it's about a $500 difference if they actually go on discount, because money's gonna have to flow back into them, and it's actually below its lows, so it's underperforming above 1,000. Well, below 1,000. So 405 calls would be good. You'll just have to set limit orders either at 500 or below them on the 405 calls, and then the 420 calls. At 295. So I'll probably see if I can get them below 300 and see if money can flow back into them to come back up toward the 500. These are 612s. If you want to go out further and do like a 618, and it's just by habits that I do Friday expirations. SpaceX, I'm not sure. The only time I really seen market sell out for IPOs, it wasn't even really an IPO, it was the GameStop shenanigans. And the market was tanking while GameStop was running. And it was, but I don't know. I can't tell for sure. We just have to see how much of a catalyst it's going to be. I got a 6-month IPO rule. I don't know about the rest of the market, but I hate seeing people have to hold stocks and watch them bleed after getting in at highs. RTX. Alright. Let's see which one we was gonna do. These were the 612 calls. I was gonna check the 618s. Yeah, these are the 618 calls, the 420s. So right now these are a little cheaper. Most of the money be poured out of these around $200 or so. As you can see, it's already at a little structure point right now to where calls are being undervalued on our options chain. And with that IPO stuff, I'm not real sure. We just have to see how it plays. I think they just listed it at like what it's supposed to open at like 135 or 118 or something. But we should just see how it goes out to play. Ripple brought one of these one of these plays out that I ain't seen since I started trading. It's one of the stocks that was hot when, like, back when I started pre-COVID days. All right, so it actually looks pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, it's actually breaking some long-term structure and it's building up some support. I don't like it long term just because it don't really do much. And I think I was trading it. What was it when I was trading it? At 17, 18. So it was around the 15, $17 range. And right now it's back trading at lows. So yeah. Right now we're seeing a lot of structure hold up here and then rejections being broken here because this what we was kind of seeing the cap at. So we was kind of seeing that cap around that $5 mark. $5 and like 375. So we did jump back in the purple for a bit. As expected, is extremely overbought, so it sold out fairly quickly. Um, if it goes back below $3, well, it's already below $3. 285, 275 looks like it'd be a good dip buy. Long term, as far as the options go, I think it'd be nice to look at like back at this 300. I mean 300, this $3 mark. Yeah, it look good on everything right now. Probably because it can't go too much lower. It's been consolidating too long, and it's finally gonna need to make a breakout. So I think for a good little minute, you should be good. Even if it drops some, you should be set up. Let's see how the monthly candle look. Monthly candle should be good too. Yeah, that previous month's candle good. They need to hold it above 235, 233. You got a little support right there. So our rows lead up to this $2 mark if it decides to fall. That's just it's just solid. It's already broken out of a little descending angle, so now it's trying to retest it. So now this it actually gapped above it, retested it, dipped and filled the gap, and now it's you know springboarded back out. You feel me? So we going back to 275. This looks dope for eventually a retest of here and it get bounced back up. So I would think the play would probably be to look for a good July. Yeah. So do 3D systems and RTX STM. All right, we'll knock these three outs and then we'll call it a night. All right, RTX. This is a it's defense, ain't it? Like Lockheed Martin and stuff. Yeah, it looks good right now. I've been watching BA. I haven't looked at this one or Lockheed Martin much, but right now it looks okay. But it is leading up to earnings too. So when is this? the 28th, so at the end of the month. So right now it looks good for a recovery. Um, Building off previous month, so that's good. It hasn't broken lows below 170 yet. It's been actually just broke highs. It's recovering after breaking lows. It had a good previous 3 months, but once it broke lows, it gave some of that back. So now it's trying to slowly make its way back up towards opening price, which is around like 194. So it actually had a decent week. So as of right now, I like it. I do like it. Look for calls right here around like 170. That'll be my first area for recovery, maybe back up to 186. If not, we'll drop and it'll break down. It'll wanna hunt down to like this 165. So we want to watch for a break below 172. Yeah, that's the previous week lows. So we look good. Aim for aim for the highs, 182. If it breaks out, it'll keep making this little trickle effect up towards 186. If it trades sideways, it'll stay in between 182 and 172. If it breaks below 172.64, then we can see a continuation down back into this concentrated area. It was bought up here. Now we're retesting it, so it should be interesting to see what's really gonna happen with it. Hey, LMT went stupid. STM. Man, it'd be dope seeing some of these tickers y'all be throwing at me that I don't really hear of. But this one, like, it benefited big time from the semiconductor run. All right, Beast, bro. See you. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. All right, so it just broke highs. All right, around 174. It's extremely, extremely overbought, man. Uh, when is it gonna cool down? No telling. But it's extremely, extremely overbought. I wouldn't touch it to the long side. 70.54. So this can come down back down to like 69, but this ain't no good. These are updated in the morning. Overall, I wouldn't even touch this, my guy. It's too extended. A gap here around like $48. I'm not sure what the catalyst is either. But I would stay away from doing puts or calls on this one. Volatility was in it somewhere. Well, the catalyst was in there somewhere, so I'm not even sure what it's moving off of. So for me, it's a no go. Don't touch in either direction. And sound horn. Sound horn is it's kind of in between. Structurally is in between. We had a nice buy up here. It held right here, and it's somewhat holding right here. Okay, so this is a little bit better because I can actually see some green. Okay, so right now we're gonna look at this being a transitional zone. This being very, very light support. We seen where it's held up between 760 and 730. So we're back there. Last time we seen it transition in here, it squeezes way up. Here we are again looking for either break or a bounce. Like I said, this week gonna be kind of hard just because of how volatile the market's been. If it breaks down below previous week's lows, that's gonna be below 725. Then you will look for a transition to the downside to discover this next level of support right here. Below 675, you probably could load the boat a little bit because we got some good structure here below 620. But right now it's still in the rejection, phase. It's due a bit of a bounce, but the thing is, it's been choppy. So soon the algo is gonna have to make it move one direction because it's getting tired of being stagnant. So transitional area right here below 760 and 730. If it breaks lows, it's still a good opportunity to kind of, do something below 675 because that shit went crazy last time it was over here. Yeah, definitely wouldn't go no further than 750 though. 750 calls. And if you June 18th, 750. It already kind of cheap. So buyers look like they're stepping in right now on those 750 calls at about $35. So should be a nice buy between $35 and $20 on the June 18th calls. So, are they collaborating with NVIDIA? STM. The old, see, NVIDIA already priced for perfection. So, I mean, anything that they do, they invest in themselves and then they invest in competitors. How much of a mogul do you gotta be to start putting money in your competition? So, but all right, family. Look like I done had y'all on for a good hour 30. Good little discussion. Appreciate everybody for getting on and giving me an opportunity to just hang out with y'all a little bit. You feel me? So definitely had a good time with y'all, man. We gonna go and we gonna get ready for war in the morning and attack this market if it gives us the opportunity. You feel me? Like, we don't have to rush. I know the PDT rule is gone and we can go ahead and do our motherfucking thing. No 1,000 to 100,000 a week, man, because the PDT rule gone. You feel me? Continue to take your time, have discipline, have good setups. If you can't see it, sit on your hands. That means it's not meant to be seen just yet. You gotta allow the market to reveal their hands, and then you just bite on the setup. Breaker highs, breaker lows, and you take what looks reasonable. So, market got fresh blood with the PDT rule. Let's not be fresh blood. Facts. Take your time, man. Cause think about it. If you enter at a pretty dope point, you're able to see it pop up, make some money, $50, $60, get out. Set your limit orders back for your original entry price. Cheat code. You keep recycling the same support level you bought in. If it worked, keep studying it, keep doing it as long as it's working. Cause that one time that it failed, you might have already scalped it 4 or 5 times. Limit orders. People don't talk about limit orders enough. They're a cheat code. Limit orders are a cheat code. So, y'all be sure to rest up, get some sleep. That way you ain't running off of just straight adrenaline. We gonna need the right mindset. You feel me? Because the market doing crazy stuff. So Let's lock in. I'll catch all of y'all in the